Welcome back to our channel. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of habits. We all have them, right? Those automatic actions we perform without even thinking. But have you ever stopped to wonder why we develop these habits in the first place? Or perhaps you've tried to break a habit and found it more challenging than you'd imagined. Well, you're not alone. Habits, as it turns out, are pretty complex. They have a deep-rooted connection with our brain's functioning and our daily routines. And here's the kicker. Understanding the science behind habits can actually help us manipulate them to our advantage. Intriguing, isn't it? So, whether you're trying to kick a stubborn habit or cultivate a new one, you're in the right place. We're about to reveal the secret behind the formation and breaking of habits. Stick around because we've got some eye-opening insights and cool stories to share. Habits are like well-worn paths in our brains. To understand how they're created, we turn to a classic experiment involving rats and a maze. It was the 20th century when psychologist B.F. Skinner decided to put habits to the test. He set up a simple maze and placed a piece of cheese at the end. Rats were then introduced into the labyrinth. At first the rodents wandered, sniffing and turning in seemingly random patterns. But as the experiment progressed, something astonishing happened. The rats began to find the cheese more quickly, taking the same path over and over again. They had formed a habit, a specific route that led to the reward. But what does this have to do with us, you might ask? Well, similar to the rats in Skinner's experiment, our brains form habits through a process called the habit loop. This loop consists of three parts: the cue, the routine, and the reward. Let's say you're feeling a bit peckish in the afternoon. That's your cue. You head to the kitchen and open the pantry. That's your routine. You find a bag of chips, munch on them, and feel satisfied. That's your reward. This cue, routine, reward process might seem straightforward, but it has a profound impact on our daily lives. It's the reason why you automatically reach for your toothbrush in the morning, why you lace up your running shoes before a jog, or why you check your phone when you hear a notification. The more we repeat these cycles, the more they become ingrained in our neural pathways, carving out those well-worn paths we talked about earlier. Our brains are efficiency machines, you see. They're always looking for ways to save effort. And when a habit emerges, the brain stops fully participating in decision-making. It goes into autopilot mode. So the next time you find yourself reaching for that bag of chips without thinking, remember it's not entirely your fault. It's your brain taking the easy route, cruising down a well-trodden path. The brain reinforces this loop, making it automatic. Habits are like mental shortcuts, making our lives more efficient. But how do they become ingrained? The answer lies in repetition. Picture this. You're learning to play a song on a musical instrument. At first, you stumble over the notes, your fingers fumbling to find the right keys or strings. It's challenging and requires your full concentration. But as you practice, repeating the song over and over, something incredible happens. Your fingers start to move more smoothly, hitting the right notes without you consciously thinking about it. This is the power of repetition in action. Repetition allows our brains to automate actions, transforming them into habits. It's like forging a path through a dense forest. The first time you walk the path, it's tough. You have to push through the undergrowth and it's slow going. But each time you walk that same route, the path becomes clearer, and the journey gets easier. Let's take a real-life example of a man who leveraged the power of repetition to his advantage. Steve Jobs, the co-founder of Apple. Jobs was known for his simple, signature outfit, a black turtleneck, blue jeans, and sneakers. Every day without fail, he donned the same attire. But why? Jobs understood that every decision we make drains a little bit of our mental energy, a concept known as decision fatigue. To conserve his mental energy for more important tasks, like running one of the world's most successful tech companies, he chose to eliminate trivial decisions, such as what to wear each day. By repeating this clothing habit daily, Jobs effectively automated the process of getting dressed in the morning. He didn't have to think about it, he didn't have to waste precious mental energy on it. It was a habit, and like all habits, it was forged through the power of repetition. And so it becomes clear that repetition plays a pivotal role in habit formation. It's the driving force that turns conscious actions into automatic routines, helps us streamline our lives, and even, as in the case of Steve Jobs, aids us in achieving greatness. By repeating this clothing habit daily, it became effortless. Now let's talk about breaking habits, which can be tricky. To illustrate, here's a story about Charles Duhigg, author of The Power of Habit. Duhigg had a daily routine of buying a cookie each afternoon at work. He noticed this pattern and realized it was becoming a habit, one he wanted to break. So, He started to examine this habit more closely. He realized that the cue for his habit was a certain time of the afternoon, around 3 o'clock. The routine was walking to the cafeteria, buying a cookie, and eating it while chatting with colleagues. The reward was the temporary satisfaction from the sweet treat and a break from work. Duhigg decided to experiment with this habit loop. He kept the cue, that 3 o'clock slump, and the reward, a break from work. But he changed the routine. Instead of heading to the cafeteria for a cookie, he started walking around the block outside his office. He found that this new routine gave him the break he craved and the opportunity to chat with colleagues, but without the cookie. As days turned into weeks, Duhigg found that the craving for the cookie diminished. The new routine of a walk replaced the old one, and he successfully broke the habit. It wasn't easy, and it took time, but by understanding the habit loop and altering just one part of it, he was able to make a significant change. This story illustrates a powerful concept in breaking habits. You see, the habit loop, the cue, the routine, and the reward, is deeply ingrained in our brains. And while it's challenging to change the cue or the reward, we can often change the routine. In doing so, we can break old habits and form new ones. So next time you find yourself stuck in a habit you want to break, remember Charles Duhigg and his cookie. Identify the cue, the routine, and the reward. Then, try changing just the routine. You might be surprised at how powerful this simple change can be. Over time, he successfully broke the habit. Duhigg's story highlights an essential principle of habit change, keeping the cue and the reward, but changing the routine. This is known as the golden rule of habit change. Intrigued? Let's delve a little deeper. Imagine a habit as a three-part cycle. First, there's a cue, something that triggers your habit. Next is the routine, the habit itself, and finally we have the reward, the pleasant feeling that reinforces the habit loop. Now, to change a habit, we can't just eliminate it, we need to replace it. But here's the catch. The replacement routine needs to deliver the same reward. That's where the golden rule comes into play. Take the habit of smoking, for example. The cue might be a break at work, the routine is lighting up a cigarette, and the reward is the stress relief it provides. According to the golden rule, you don't eliminate the cue or the reward, you simply change the routine. So instead of reaching for a cigarette during your break, you might chew a piece of nicotine gum. The cue remains the same, the break at work. The reward remains the same too, stress relief. But the routine has changed. You've replaced the harmful habit of smoking with a less harmful one, chewing gum. The golden rule doesn't promise instant success, but it offers a powerful framework for habit change. So if you want to quit smoking, routine, keep the social aspect, cue, but replace cigarettes with gum, reward. Breaking habits also requires belief in your ability to change. Stanford psychologist Carol Dweck's research on the growth mindset explains this beautifully. In essence, the growth mindset is a belief system that encourages us to see our abilities and intelligence as qualities that can be developed. It's about recognizing that we are not merely the sum of our innate talents. Instead, we are a dynamic blend of potential that can be harnessed and improved with effort, patience, and perseverance. Imagine you're trying to break the habit of hitting the snooze button every morning. A fixed mindset might tell you, "I'm just not a morning person," but a growth mindset would counter with, "I can become a morning person if I work at it." This mindset is not about denying the challenges or downplaying the difficulty of change. It's about embracing the struggle, recognizing that effort is a crucial ingredient for growth and understanding that failure isn't a permanent condition, but a stepping stone towards improvement. Belief, as it turns out, is a powerful ally in the battle to break old habits and form new ones. It's the fuel that keeps us going when the process gets tough, the light that guides us through the maze of change. It's the conviction that we are capable of change, that we can rewrite our story one habit at a time. People with a fixed mindset believe their abilities are set in stone, while those with a growth mindset believe they can improve with effort and practice. And there you have it, the science of habits, how they're formed and broken. Remember, habits are like a double-edged sword. They can either propel us toward success or keep us stuck. But armed with knowledge and determination, you can take control of your habits and shape the life you desire. If you found this video informative, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more fascinating insights. And as always, share your thoughts and stories in the comments below. Until next time, stay curious and keep breaking those habits.